everybody. Greg Cisko here, MUFON field investigator and photo analysis team member, and today's video is going to be about the Hellfire UAP video. What I'm going to take a look at is what appears to be a power surge on the UFO just before it rotates to put its nose in the direction of the incoming Hellfire missile. And then the second part of the video is going to be about the closer examination of when the missile hits the UFO and the objects that appear to come out of the UFO after the impact. And in both cases, I'm going to do a frame-by-frame analysis of the power surge and the missile hitting the UFO. I've taken some very common programs that are available on the internet, and I have extracted the individual frames from the video that I've created from a snipping tool screenshot of the video from the Congressional Hearings. So that's how I'm getting these videos, and that's how I'm doing the image by image, frame by frame analysis, or I don't know if it's an analysis, but I'm at least looking at the frames individually to see if we can glean any more information. So first up, let's go over the video itself, which is right here. I think you're going to recognize this, and what you're going to see is the UFO in the middle of the screen. You see there's a crosshair and there's a box surrounding the UFO, and that is the laser designation target lock from the system that is doing the laser tracking for the Hellfire missile to impact the UFO. And what you're going to see is the UFO is going to go super bright. It's going to be like, to me, it looks like a power surge. And after that point, it's sort of like it became aware that an object was coming toward it, is the highly controversial part, I guess. And after the power surge, you see the UFO start angling over in the direction of the Hellfire missile, and then the missile hits. So for me, the big deal was that the UFO rotated so that the nose was at the same point as the incoming missile. And that's basically what Commander David Fravor explained in his USS Nimitz incident encounter in November 2024. So let's check out the video. Here we go. All right, so there's the power surge right there. And let's stop a little bit and let's back up real quick. And you can see right here that the lock has sort of been lost a little bit because the UFO is tracked off of the crosshair. So after the power surge, it seemed like the lock was momentarily lost and the UFO drifted away from the center locking point. And it was reacquired and it moved back into the center after the lock was reacquired. And then you can see that the UFO is now starting to turn so that the end is basically pointing toward the incoming missile. And there's the missile right there. I'm going to stop that right now, and we're going to take a look at the frame-by-frame analysis of the UFO with the power surge. All right, so here you go. The frame is frame 108. It just happens to be the frame number that I've selected from the video that I created, and it's particular to my video that I created. It's nothing special about that particular frame. But let's page through, and here you can see it changed to frame 109, and then here frame 110, and you can see it's starting to brighten up. And here is the power surge at frame 113, frame 114, 15, 18, 22, 26. And here you can see that the UFO is basically gone from view. So I'm not sure what would cause the appearance of the whole screen to wash out like this. But to me, when I watched the video at full speed, at normal speed, it looked like the UFO surged and then it rotated to point toward the incoming Hellfire. And you can see it's surged for quite a bit. And then you can see that the square targeting indicator is a little to the right of the crosshairs, and then it goes way over to the left and a little bit below. And so here Yeah, here you can see that the UFO is moved to the left and below of the crosshairs, and the locking box is over to the right of the crosshairs. So I am going to claim that momentarily the lock was lost and the UFO has drifted away from the lock, but you're going to see that in a couple more frames, like right there, the square locking box went back and reacquired the UFO. So after the power surge, it's the controversial explanation for this. After a power surge, the lock was lost, but it was reacquired again. And who knows what that really was. Was it really a power surge? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And here, as we go through the frames, you're going to see that the system is going to bring the box back into the center of the crosshairs and reacquire the lock, and we're all going to be good to go. Right, so there you go. So we are back in the center. It's going to drift a little bit to the left and basically stay right there. So now we are recentered. And that's basically my analysis, my frame-by-frame analysis of the power-up. So let's go back and look at the video and see what you think again. Let me go back here and we'll look at that power burst, or what I'm calling a power burst. And yeah, see, boom. And you can see it wobbles around and then it recenters and everything is all good. Now I'm going to let the video go until the Hellfire Missile comes into the screen. All right, here the Hellfire Missile is coming into the screen, and there it blasts the UFO and knocks it off kilter, and then those three objects come out. So what are the three objects? That was what my previous video was about. I speculated that the three objects may in fact be the ejection pods for the entities that were inside the UFO. Is that really what it is? I don't know, but there were three of those objects, and you see many reports about three beings in the crash retrieval recovery operations of the craft. So that was why I speculated that it might be an ejection pod right there. So right, so now let's take a look at the missile impacting the UFO, and please pay attention to how many frames it takes for the UFO to get from the left edge of the screen down to the UFO itself versus how many frames it takes for the object to go through the UFO. I've already counted this, and it takes 20 frames to go from the corner down to the UFO, and it takes 5 frames to go through the UFO. And to me, that shows that there was some kind of resistance going on there with the UFO, and I wouldn't think there would be any resistance whatsoever if the object was some kind of a balloon or some kind of a paper bag or a plastic bag or something like that. Then why would a balloon or paper bag do a power surge we saw earlier? Anyway, here we go. We're on frame 568. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see the distance that the UFO has traveled in 5 frames right here. Okay, so now we're going to keep going, and at this point you can see the UFO is going to change course and adjust its course a little bit to point more toward the UFO in question. So here we're going to go and 588. So when we started it was 568. So now we are at the edge of the UFO surface boundary is what it looks like to me. So it's going to take 5 frames to get through the UFO. So you saw what the distance was of the UFO at the beginning here, where it traversed 5 frames and it went probably about 2 inches worth of space here on my computer screen. And here this is probably maybe a ½ inch, if that, to go through the UFO itself. So it's going to be restricted a little bit going through the UFO. So let's continue. We're on frame 588. 1, 2, here you can see the UFO started breaking up. 3, 4, 5, and here it emerges after 5 frames. So to me, well, you can see that it took 5 frames to get through a little area where the UFO was, versus the distance that it traveled in 5 frames prior to hitting the UFO. So I'm going to claim that the UFO was a little bit more significant than, say, a balloon or random debris bag or something like that floating in the atmosphere. Why would a laser lock onto a bag anyway? So it would have to be something solid. A balloon would certainly be solid, but I would think that the resistance would be much less if this were a balloon. Maybe not. Maybe this proves that it was a balloon. In any event, let me know what you think down below. And how about that power surge that we saw early on? Let me know what you think about that. And I will see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.
MUFON is a mutual UFO network. If you're curious about UFOs and how the story is unfolding, become a member. We are your worldwide community of like-minded people.